Something sticky over here.
There were still posted notes.
Oh.
It's from when we had the meeting.
We're ready? Okay.
Oh, yes.
Okay. It's all sticky. I don't know. I'm going to sit back like this. Okay. The mission of the Freehold Township School District is to honor and support every learner every day on the journey to become curious and engaged members of a diverse global community. A notice listing the time, date, and place of this meeting was posted on the public bulletin board of all Freehold Township schools, on the entrance door to the administrative offices of the Board of Education, on the district website at the office of the Freehold Township Clerk, published in the Asbury Park Press January 6th, 2023, and sent to the news transcript January 4th, 2023. I'd like to invite you to join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You have like Goo Gone or something on this thing.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
We'll clean it tomorrow.
Okay. All right. So we need a roll call.
Mrs. Brand, Mrs. Cosolino, Mr. Gargiulo,
Here.
Mrs. O'Sullivan,
Present.
Mrs. Thurman,
Here.
Mrs. Venatoli,
Here.
Mr. Williams,
Here.
Mr. Amoroso, Mrs. Lambert.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Great. I'd like a motion to approve the regular meeting minutes from March 21st, 2023.
I'll move.
Second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. I abstain.
All right.
I'd like a motion to approve the executive session meeting minutes from March 21st, 2023. Second.
Here.
Neil seconded.
Abstain.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. One abstention.
All right.
Communications.
One second. The only communication that we have this evening is enrollment. February of 23, we had 3,470 students. March of 23, we had 3,485. And versus March of 22 at 3,503. That's all I have.
I'd like to thank Kathy and Lisa for joining us tonight, and everyone who's watching from home on YouTube. As we get into the full-blown spring, this is a public service announcement just because I live in this town and I drive. I get it. The weather's great. Everyone's out and about. I'm out and about. Remind yourselves that when you're driving in the afternoon, for all the parents listening and citizens, we have a lot of school children who walk. Please be careful. See a lot of crazy driving on the road, and I have to tell you, I've been more than uncomfortable in the past few weeks on some of the nicer days in the afternoon. There's a lot of cars on the road, but we also have a lot of little people on the road. So just be cognizant that we are, the high schools aside, we are 8 buildings in this town with a lot of little walkers. So drive carefully, always, but especially in the afternoon, please. That's my public service announcement. Other than that, I will turn it over to Mr. Dickstein for our administrative report.
Thank you. As a follow-up from our last meeting regarding concerns and discussions with Chapter 44, Mr. DeVita and I have meetings set up the week we come back from break with both our Senator Gopal and a separate meeting with our 2 assemblywomen, Olner and Paperno, to discuss our concerns regarding Chapter 44. They did reach out to us after they received our letter. Our letters, nothing from the governor's office, but those 2 offices did reach out to us and asked to schedule follow-up meetings, so that will happen, or they are scheduled to happen, the week we come back from break. I also emailed both offices, the assistants in those offices, to ask if we can also include the legislation that's in both houses regarding the superseding of collective bargaining agreements, to, once again, similar to Chapter 44, now impede upon our collective bargaining agreements in the use of sick and bereavement and personal days. I'm not sure who thinks we already don't have substitute coverage, so affording staff members additional days beyond what's negotiated, we will. I can't imagine that there'll be days where we wouldn't need to close schools because we couldn't function. So where that's coming from, I have no idea. But both assistants expressed on behalf of Senator Gopal and the Assemblywomen their willingness to discuss those bills. So we are going to include those as well, and we'll be ready with some data to show that we can't staff as it is without an impact on children and our existing staff members in the district, let alone adding something that supersedes or legislating something that supersedes, again, collective bargaining, will have a negative impact on actually our students, but even the staff that are afforded through this legislation, because they'll be the ones pulled to cover other classes and it makes absolutely no sense. So we'll be including that as well. Just wishing everybody a wonderful spring break to our families. It's been a great beginning of spring, and our schools have been very busy with activities. It's been great to see board members there and to see our parents supporting their children in our schools. And then, of course, the bullying report. Since our last meeting, we had 7 reports of harassment, intimidation, and bullying. 5 were founded and 2 were unfounded. That's all that I have.
On the bullying number 4, the target was unsatisfied with the apology. The perpetrator seemed to repent and apologize. Did someone report it, that it had to be on the report?
Yes. So it doesn't matter whether they apologize or not. It's the act of it happening. They can apologize and have sympathy and or empathy after the fact. But if it happens, regardless of the apology, it is still meets the definition.
Okay.
So that's additional information that you have in there that there was an apology. But whether there was or not, it's still founded once it happens, and we know about it.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? No? Okay. This would be the first opportunity for public participation. I didn't think so. Okay, so with that, we will move right on to Personnel Committee. Ms. O'Sullivan?
Okay. We met at the Applegate School, and we heard the 5th grade band performance, which was excellent. The 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders and parents were given a wonderful show. Thanks to Mrs. Lisa Rispoli for conducting and giving a very informative lesson about each instrument. After the concert, we met as a committee. People present were Dr. Brethauer, Meg Thuman, Neil Galjulio, and myself. At our meeting, we discussed the agenda review. Also, as Mr. Dickstein just said, about the position on Assembly Bill 5060 or 5060, which deals with collective bargaining. Going forward, looking at number 3 for resignations, I would like to move as listed. Number 4, long-term substitutes as listed. Number 5, leave of absence as listed. Number 6, creation of positions as listed. Number 7, unpaid days as listed. Number 8, ESY staff as listed. Number 9, curriculum committee as listed. Number 10, the PTO honoraria as listed. Number 11, PTO honoraria rescinded as listed. Number 12, Project Lead the Way training as listed. 13, additional compensations as listed. 14, certified substitutes as listed. And 15, non-certified substitutes as listed. And that is it.
Does anybody have any questions? No? Seeing none, can I have a second?
Second.
Roll call?
Mrs. Brand, Mr. Gargiulo,
Yes.
Mrs. O'Sullivan,
Yes.
Mrs. Thoman, Mrs. Van Vitoli,
Yes.
Mr. Williams,
Yes.
Mrs. Lambert.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Curriculum and Policy Committee, I assume, Mr. Williams, you're going to move the agenda?
I will do the best.
I apologize, throwing this on you.
No, it's okay. I talked to Mary. Obviously we did not meet tonight, but we will be meeting.
I'm sorry. I thought. Never mind. I'm sorry. I thought I did a reflection.
There we go. Didn't meet tonight. We'll be meeting on the 25th. As far
Computer.
sorry about that. Then off to a great start. Course. That's fine.
Here you go.
We're gonna get through this. Course reimbursement as listed. Course reimbursement update as listed. First reading of regulation 51112 as listed. Preschool disabled program. Second reading of policies 0161 call adjournment and cancellation. Policy 0162 notice of board meetings. Policy 2423 bilingual and ESL education. Policy 8140 student enrollments. Policy 8330 student records. Policy 8454 management of pediculosis. Okay. And regulation 2423 as listed. And number 7, home instruction as listed. That's all I have.
Any questions? Any questions on any of the policies? May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
I
The Finance, Facilities, and Transportation Committee did meet tonight. In attendance were Mr. DeVita, Mrs. Williams, Mrs. Lambert, Mrs. Brand, myself, and a cameo from Mr. Dickstein. We did a lot. We discussed the results of the administrative review from the Department of Agriculture. We discussed the perfect score we received during the administrative review. Big thank you to Allie McKee, Allie Williams, Rocio Johnson, and the entire Sodexo team. The auditor was able to leave a day early, commented on how clean the kitchens are and how organized our team was, and she was most impressed that Sodexo pulled this off despite being short-staffed all year long. We discussed the chiller at West Freehold School. The parts to repair the chiller will not be on site until the middle of June. We're making alternate arrangements to cool the classrooms. We discussed that Dr. Brethauer plans to post our available teaching positions for 23-24 tomorrow so we can get a jump start on the competition, which is a great idea. We discussed some of the draft projects lists to begin exploring for a possible referendum. We'll have a full board discussion at an upcoming meeting. We also discussed A5060 and how it would again supersede our collective bargaining agreements. A copy of NJSBA's reasoning to oppose is in everybody's packet. This will cost every Board of Ed more money and provide staff more days off than are allowed in the collective bargaining agreement. We discussed the food services RFP. Our draft RFP has been submitted to the Department of Agriculture. Once they approve it, we can advertise it in the paper. We anticipate having the proposals reviewed between May 10th and May 17th, and the board would award the RFP on May 23rd, and we discussed the agenda items.
I need 2 to 3 people who are willing to sit with myself and Miss Williams to review the proposals when they come in. They have to be scored, and then I have to write a report, and it has to be posted on our website prior to the board taking action at the last meeting in May. So it could. Last time we did this, we had one proposal come in, so it was easy to score. But it's because the state was pushing a different type of contract, and a lot of the smaller providers had never done it before, and they were concerned about, coming into that marketplace. I suspect we'll have a few this time, but I just need the dates that I gave there.
May 10th through May 17th.
Yeah, it's because I know a couple people have already said to me in my committee that they're conflicted. So if anyone wants to let me know tonight, email me, and then as long as I have 2 or 3 board members, the 5 of us can review and score. Okay. Okay.
Between the 10th and the 17th of May. During the day or?
It depends what everyone's schedule is. Okay.
We have Neil and
Okay.
Jeff, so that's helpful. So
Yep.
do you need 3 definitely, or is 2 okay?
2 to 3 is fine.
Okay.
Yep.
So I guess
All right.
we could play it by ear if it works for you then.
Yep. I'll keep you guys posted.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
I'm doing on a lunch hour.
Okay.
What? Just wait a minute. Okay. We're good to go?
Yep.
So I would like to move the agenda items. Item number 1, item number 3, sorry, bills and claims. We had total bills in the amount of $1,987,110.08. Payroll for $2,466,706.14, for a grand total of $4,453,816.22. Thank you to Mr. Gargiulio for doing the bills. Number 4, travel and related expenses as listed. Number 5, travel and related expenses update as listed. Number 6, transfers as listed. Number 7, honoraria at Dwight D. Eisenhower School as listed. Thank you to the PTO. Number 8, honorarium rescind as listed. Number 9, the TWU sidebar agreement as listed. Number 10, the school bus emergency evacuation and safety drills as listed. Number 11, the 22-23 ESSER 3 and ARP and Title 1A update as listed. And that's all.
Number 12.
Oh, 12, sorry, I thought there was. It's not bolded, sorry guys. The competitive contracting for managed backup as a service and disaster recovery as a service as listed.
Any questions? Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion carries. Okay. Old business, new business, president's remarks, I do in, Old business, new business, president's remarks, I kind of always do all together. I'm going to ask, in terms of new business, are there any upcoming, since we have break and we don't have a meeting until the end of the month or after break, anything upcoming in any of the buildings that we should know about?
I don't know.
I
We
know,
send
but-
out- No, we had both on our both.
Yeah.
You should be receiving all of the newsletters, which is where we pull our.
Right.
So if you want to keep going, I will. I won't find. It's not on a calendar. It's not. There's no one calendar that we maintain.
Right.
But we can say the end of the marking period is tomorrow, and we will start the 4th marking period upon return. So for some of our middle schoolers, that might mean a shift and not really, classes.
Mhm.
And we do map testing, I think, upon return. Right. But I don't, for that reason, I don't think Mr. Dixon's going to find anything on the calendar because we have map testing upon return.
Okay. Okay. Yep, that was the kind of information since people are watching from home. And we did receive some correspondence from some parents. I want to make a short statement that this Board of Education and administration was wholeheartedly sick over the events that occurred in Nashville. the loss of lives, the loss of young people's lives, old people, it doesn't really matter. It was a tragedy. It was violence. It was uncalled for, and it was horrific. So each person sitting here has made it their priority to keep the students and staff of Freehold Township safe, and that has been for years, years and years. We discuss how we do it. We discuss what parts of our budget can be dedicated to it. We've gone for grant money and have made continual improvements to our buildings and our processes as time goes by. So we've had a few emails and a few phone calls, a few texts regarding officers in every building. And for those of you that were questioning that, perhaps you were not at some of our most recent board meetings where we discussed that possibility and where we were at with that. So if Mr. Dickstein could take 2 minutes to just remind the parents at home where we are with our Class 3 officers and what that looks like in Freehold.
So we have four Class 3 officers in our schools that rotate throughout the district. That's a 2-to-1 ratio, one officer for every 2 schools. When we were hiring the 4th, which was a new position for this year, there were only 2 applicants after the posting had come out. And we decided, since it's very difficult to fill those positions, that we would actually find money in the budget to hire both. And by the time we were ready, not even by the time we were ready to do that, we communicated that desire, and in the process, one of the 2 candidates withdrew. So it is a very difficult, all professions at this point are short-staffed, and it is not without the police department being short-staffed as well, let alone retired officers serving as Class 3s. So we were not able to secure the 5th, so we have 4 at this time. In addition to that, our Freehold Township Police Department works extremely close with us, and our patrolmen and women who are on the road during the day, in their assigned zones, they stop into the schools and do walkthroughs. So while we have 4 dedicated Class 3 officers, in addition to those officers, we actually have patrol men and women during the day who stop and they walk through the buildings, not just stop in the parking lots, they do that as well, but they walk through the buildings as walkthroughs during the day, in addition to those 4 Class 3 officers. So our buildings are well covered with police, a police presence during the day. As we go on, each year we reevaluate, and we'll continue to do so. And that's reevaluating everything connected to school security, our facilities, our infrastructure, and the assignment of officers.
Including our technology and our plans, our safety plans. Yep. Thank you. Thank you, Neil. With that is the second opportunity for public participation for Kathy and Lisa. No takers. So I'd like to end the meeting by thanking you both for joining us again this evening. Happy spring break. Happy spring break to everybody. Happy holiday, whether you celebrate Passover, Easter, any other holiday. Enjoy your time off with your families and your friends. So with that, I'd like a motion to go into executive session. Whereas pursuant to NJSA 10-412B, the Board of Education may exclude the public from that portion of a public meeting at which the board discusses any of the matters described at NJSA 10-412B 1 through 9. Now, therefore, be it resolved that in accordance with the provision of the Open Public Meeting Act, the Board of Education shall conduct a closed session pursuant to the personnel and legal exceptions prescribed by NJSA 10-412 for the purposes of discussing pending or anticipated contract negotiations with the TWU. It is anticipated that the length of time of this executive session will be 30 minutes and that action will not be taken in public after executive session. Be it further resolved that said discussion may be disclosed to the public when reasons for discussing and acting upon it in closed session no longer exist. So, thank you for joining us. We're going to move into executive session. You're free to wait to the end, but we're just going to come in and close out the meeting. It's your choice. Not chasing you out of here.